Okay, right. We'll run that in a minute then. I'll just have it not pointing at me. Point it at somebody else instead. Yeah. 2 watts into my head. Yeah, no wonder I'm going mad. Yeah. Good call.
Well, you know, when Ofcom's looking to give away our bands in microwaves for uses like mobile telephony and stuff, just got to spread a bit of fake news. You know about these microwave effects?
Yes.
Yeah. No one will want it.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're on there, because I haven't got a lot of battery power here.
Okay, that's fine. I'll be a bit warning. Right. 2 minutes and then we will start, honest.
No.
Just hold phone. Okay, let's crack on. 5.6 gigs. Quick presentation about what we've been doing on 5.6. I won't claim to be an expert in this. I only got the gear about 4 or 5 weeks ago. We've just tried a couple of contacts, but it was so simple, we thought we'd talk about it today. I'm just going to cover why we're doing it, what kit we're using, how we're doing it, what aerials we're using, talk about some enhancements, some operating tips, and where we go from here. Well, we got word that there was cheap kit available for 5.7 gigs. Quick check on eBay revealed that you could buy, at that stage, a transmitter and receiver for less than 20 quid. We thought it would be good to give it a try as a new technical challenge, and thought it was probably very simple. So I sent off my 20 quid on PayPal and got that little packet you can see in bottom right of the picture there. Unfortunately, due to demand, the price has now gone up, but there we go. What did we get? We got a transmitter, which is typically 600 milliwatts output. Very simple. It takes 1 volt peak to peak video in, 2 audio channels, and the one I got has 16, or is it 32 preset channels on it. Simple presets. Power supply, it takes anything. It's got switch mode power supply, so you chuck 12 volts in it, it's happy. The receivers have the same preset channels, RF in and video and audio out. I'll mention it again later, but worth reminding, most of this kit has got reverse polarity SMAs on it. So if you think your box of SMA adapters is going to be any good, you need to buy some more for RP-SMA to SMA. How do you do it? Well, it's really simple. Wire up the power, video and the audio and put an aerial on. Do you need a changeover relay? Well, yes, if you're only using one aerial. But the other day when I was out portable at Cleve Common, I came across a couple of guys also doing 5.7 gigs, and they were doing it with 2 aerials and no changeover relay, and having very good results.
Dave, just going back to that, have they hung the transmitter and receiver on the back of the panel?
Yes, they had. Yeah, so they were feeding video and audio straight to it. Sorry, they were just feeding audio straight to it. They weren't doing video. You need a video source. For that, I use the ports down with its video output, just so that I don't have to take another camera with me. But any video source will do. And you need a monitor. Now, most of us binned all our analog monitors a couple of years ago. and regret it. Because if you put this into a normal digital monitor, unless you've got a really nice picture there, you get a blue screen. So you either need to use I'll come to that later, but you need to use a sync enhancer or some device to make sure you get away from the blue screen. You got a quickie?
We were talking about John in Minnesota earlier on.
Yep.
And if you have a word with John in Minnesota, he has actually done a blue screen adapter.
A blue screen adapter from John in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Okay.
So therefore it goes straight into your TV, gets rid of blue screen.
Good. Good. You need some device like that, that's for sure.
There was one in the Pirate, mate.
There was.
There was what? Sorry, no.
CQD ATV published one as well.
Yeah, but there's problems with that.
Okay, aerials then. There's a good selection of 5.8 gigs Wi-Fi aerials available on eBay. Or from rallies. We bought these for not very much money at the Froome rally. Need to think about polarization. A lot of them are supplied vertical. So we did our early tests vertical because we were in a hurry. We've now changed the dish round to horizontal. You can also use a Sky dish with W1 GHZ feed. Have you got one with you, Noel?
No, it's the little log periodic
A very,
circuit board.
very small log periodic
That's
printed
what
circuit board.
That's what I used for the very first contact. Sky Mini dish with one of those in front.
So Sky dish with one of those,
Sam DDK sells them.
about a fiver.
Fiver, yeah.
Got one
Yeah.
in my car.
And you can
Yeah.
get a Sky dish from the tick for £1.
My first test, I used the arrangement on the right there, where I had a 10 gigs dish, and just inside the feed horn, I put a 5.7 gigs dipole fed by that bit of semi-rigid, and it worked. So just try it, just do it.
I mean, that's what we did.
That was 80 kilometres we did on that.
So I used the Sky dish with the log periodic PCB, and he used that, and we did 80 kilometres.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
the open waveguide would be sufficient to radiate onto the panel.
Yeah, yeah. If you've got a waveguide transition, but of course you're in coax. You're starting in coax. Right. The other thing about aerials is next door, Kevin has some 5.6 gigs panels, sort of octagon-shaped panels, for a fiver. So if you're thinking about this, grab one today or grab two today, and then you won't need a changeover relay. We talked about feeds for dishes. There's the W1 GHZ at the bottom left there. Brian, G4NNS, has done some very nice designs for horns. Or you could use the V4 MA feed there. So there's plenty of work to be done there if you want to get the last dB out. But my message to you is just go and try it and get on the air. Enhancements. Power amplifiers. 600 milliwatts gets you 80 kilometres, easy. But if you want to try going further, these amplifiers, like this one here, about 20 quid on eBay. They're FM only. They're not linear at all. That one, the best measurement I could get was 2¼ watts. Whether it is 2¼ watts, but it's in that order. There's quite a bit of power coming out of there. Receive preamps. I know Rob M0DTS has built one of Franco's preamps for his 5.7 gig work. Needs modification, needs some test gear to get it tuned on frequency. There are some other designs out there, but we haven't really investigated them yet. Being a closed down FM receiver, it's quite difficult to measure exactly how sensitive they are. I was mentioning the need for some sort of sync processor, sync enhancer. I actually found in my junk box that I had a CQTV 129 sync processor, and I put that in circuit. So I've always got a picture on my LCD monitor, and I've got it locks up at about P1, P2. I can just about see something, but I also have an analog monitor in the car as well. I haven't gone away from that. There are commercial sync enhancers like that one on the left as well, on the right as well. As far as frequency is concerned, 5.7 gigs is the first time I'd looked at the band. We've got 3 allocations with gaps in. GB3KM already has a receive input on 5665. So we decided to go for 5665 as people were already using it for video. However, some of the modules will not tune down to there. Some only have a limited number of channels. The guys who are doing wideband audio FM up in Bolton are using 5840. The guys I came across in Cheltenham were using 5825. I think the one place we wouldn't want to be for wideband FM is in the narrowband segment there. I would think for digital, the narrowband segment is probably a good idea because you're going to use existing transverters and you're not going to cause interference across the narrowband bit. But for what we're doing, either the top or the bottom, and I would suggest that 5665 is the primary and 5840 is the secondary. RSGB band plan, I think, could do with some work on this. We'll perhaps address that. You'll notice we are in the satellite band. There's nothing I'm aware of satellite-wise, amateur satellite-wise, on 5.7 gig yet. The US 5 and dime satellite, due for launch in a couple of years' time, their geostationary one is talking about using 5.7. So we just need to keep an eye on that. As I mentioned, horizontal polarity. Dish pointing, it's not as critical as 10 gigs, especially if you're using a smaller dish, and especially if you're using a narrow one like this. You know, it's 10 degrees beam width on that thing, typically 4 to 8 degrees on a sky dish. One of the things you can do to peak for maximum signal strength once you've achieved the signal is listen to the sound subcarrier and peak it for maximum quieting. That's what we did the other day. I'll come to that at the end. Okay, known users. Currently, Noel, myself, Malcolm's got some kit, JDXZ in Bristol, and a couple of the microwavers are getting going on the south coast. Up in northeast, I know Terry, Rob and KM are on. There's a flurry of wideband FM activity around the Cheltenham area. Bolton Wireless Club have been pushing this for a while, actually. I think we're quite late to the party, and I'd like to acknowledge what they've done on this front. And they published the Practical Wireless article, the one they called about the Siren kit. It was in July and August of Practical Wireless this year, using wideband FM, and they're up on 5840, as I mentioned. I also heard that GLXYJ and JBYN are on. We've got Tony has got some kit, I know. There are a couple of guys up in Norfolk. Terry, are you on as well? So there's enough people out there to make it worth doing in an activity day. So let's put on the forum if you're taking 5.7 gigs kit with you, or you've got 5.7 gigs available for an activity day. And we'll coordinate on 14475 as usual, or over internet, and go from there. Okay, so we've got this 5.7 gig kit and the aerials. What's next? Perhaps we could try digital. The Pluto that we mentioned yesterday and Charles is going to talk about will directly transmit on on this frequency. But you then need to think about how you amplify it, and you will need a decent linear amplifier for 5.7 gigs, which I suggest aren't very easy to find. You know, Pluto 1 milliwatt or so output. Intercarrier sound, there have been a few issues here, and we're not sure whether they're connection issues or whether it's frequency. Most of the modules seem to have two intercarrier sound carriers at 6 and 6.5, but there is talk that some people have come across modules with 5.5 meg intercarrier sound. So it's just worth looking at that for compatibility. I suggest that 6 is our primary setting with 6.5.
Is there any way that you can find out when you're ordering the equipment that it's 5.5 or 6, or is it like a lot of these things? Buy a few and hope that one works.
The question is, can you find out when you're ordering the equipment what the intercarrier sound is? The answer is very rarely.
I.e. that you buy XYZ module and yes it does.
The modules we're using, the name escapes me. Tarot modules are 6 and 6.5.
Thank you.
And as I mentioned, reverse polarity SMAs, that nearly caught me out and stopped me getting on the air. I took a couple of Wi-Fi 2.4 gig little black aerials apart, and you'll still see there's the tail on that, on the receive side on there. eBay, the adapters I just bought for £5.50 recently. I don't know how they perform RF wise, that's the next check I've got to do.
Has anyone looked at the spectrum analyzer to see what the bandwidth of the signal is?
I haven't looked at it modulated. I had it on the other day to check the sound carriers. No, but the video quality is very good. It's far better than the Comtech modules used to be.
So you're probably talking 27 megahertz or something like that.
Probably quite wide, yeah.
One thing you can do with reverse polarity SMA is to adapt is just to put, if it's the right sex, you just put a piece of wire between the two.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't remember what gauge it is.
Did you mention preamps, Dave?
Yes, I did. Yeah, yeah. Have you got something to add on preamps?
Other than Terry, Phil PS, here, still outside, said there's an eBay seller. Pyro Joe in the States?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Terry mentioned that Pyro Joe has some 5.6 gig preamps, so worth looking on eBay. Time-wise, I think I'm almost done. What I would like to do then, I'll take questions and then I'll fire up the gear and we'll just see if Tony can receive it. Any further questions from the floor? Yes, Russ, can you pass it? Oh, sorry.
Hi, I was wondering, how are you setting the channels? You said it's got a variety of channels, but...
There are small dip switches, and with the unit you get a decode sheet that says what to do with the dip switches. Actually, I can show you. You get a sheet like this that is half in Chinese and half in English, but the numbers are in English and the pictures are pictures. So you get one of those. And the mention of the aerials that Kevin's got for sale, that's one with the lid off patch antenna, and it claims 21 dBi. So worth a look. Okay. Tony, do you want to try receiving something?
Yeah.
Do you want to bring it up the front, please? There we go.
That's real.
And it's
No connections, no wires.
it's that easy.
Nothing up your sleeve.
CSD card.
Let's say, you've got to carry your own power around with it.
I'll just to prove it is real. There you go. And that's not a Portsdown touchscreen.
It's not a touch screen.
Okay. We'll break for coffee then, please. And if everybody could be back in here at 11 o'clock, 10 gigs DATV. Don't forget the antenna range. Thank you very much, guys.